Hey everyone, and welcome to Going Deeper Encouragement. It's an honor for me to have you join today. My name is Stephen Haynes, and today I want to share from a passage of scripture. We've been working through the book of Hebrews and really looking at a couple of verses as we go along. But there's one today that I want to touch on, and it's in Hebrews 5, verses 8. And it says, although he was a son, he learned obedience through what he suffered. Although he was a son, he learned obedience through what he suffered. One of the things I really find interesting about this is obviously speaking about Jesus, who he was. He was a son. He was a son of God. That was what he was born into. That's his position. That's his identity. But one of the things that we learn from the scripture is that he had to learn obedience. He had to learn what it is to obedience. How? Through suffering. I believe that there are things that we gain through suffering that we cannot gain any other way. And this is one of them. You see, it is so easy to actually obey when there's no consequence to obedience. In other words, I can obey something if it's like, well, Stephen, will you obey me if I'm offering you ice cream? Well, of course I'd obey you. But if there's a consequence that is a negative to me, Stephen, would you obey me if I asked you to do something that's going to hurt you? Would you obey me if there's something where you're going to feel the consequence of it, where it's going to put you at a discomfort and you're going to suffer a bit for it? That's how you have to learn obedience. And that's what it's speaking about, is that Jesus had to learn obedience. It wasn't something that he had, wow, you're the Son of God, boom, you've got obedience. No, he had to learn it. He had to learn what it was to stand up for God, stand up for what he knew what was right. And ultimately, the greatest one was in the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus said, my God, can you take this away from me? But not my will, but your will be done. You see, he got to the place where he was willing to surrender and obey God, but he had gone through his lifetime of learning obedience, that when he got to that place, that even though he didn't want to go through the cross, even though he didn't want to have to do all these things, he could still say, God, but not my will, but your will be done. And so, my friend, there are going to be times where God's going to ask you to do something. He's going to ask you, Stephen, or whatever your name is, please will you do this? And it's going to ask you to lay down your comforts, lay down your desires, to walk in obedience. And it's learning obedience in those places, that even when it's uncomfortable, even when the consequences to obeying him is not going to make you popular, it's not going to feel great, those are the times that we say, yes, Lord, and we obey him because we know that he is worthy of it. So, my friend, thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Have an amazing day further, and we'll see you next time. God bless.